Welcome, everyone. I'm currently away on vacation and will be back Wednesday, October 22nd. Today, your host will be Søren Basher. Søren runs his own investment advisory firm called Brilliant Advice.
Well, hi, Larry. Welcome to the Brighter with Sernbert show.
Yeah, hi, Sernberg.
It's an upgrade to the Herbert show, but we'll be back to regular programming next week.
Dramatic upgrade with a slight downgrade on the hair level.
Right. Well, you're one to talk about that.
Well, that's why I notice these things acutely.
Yes. Well, this week our roles are reversed. I get to have you on as the guest, which you said it was a more comfortable experience for you. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Absolutely. I'm not much of a host, but not much better guest either. But okay.
No, you did a great job last week. I enjoyed being on your show, and this will be a lot of fun. So let's talk about
our. Must be a lot of slides, right?
We have a few slides, yes.
A few slides. Okay, good.
Yep. The first one that we want to talk about is the say.com questions are up.
Yeah.
And we already sort of have the top 7, and I'm sure these probably won't change too much. So I thought I would just sort of take you through these, and perhaps if you could pretend that you're Elon for a moment.
Yeah.
And answer these questions. So we'll just kind of bring them up on the screen here. So the first one, what are the plans for new car models? Will Tesla build compact car models leveraging the unboxed Cybercab platform? Will Tesla build a traditional SUV and pickup truck in the Cybertruck platform?
Well, since I'm Elon Musk, I'll give you Elon Musk's response. Next question. I mean, he tells us every investor call, do not ask me about product, roadmap. It's an investor call. We don't talk about our roadmap here, and he doesn't. He'll say, general answer, that's it. And so the general answer is that, we're constantly looking at the market, we're constantly evaluating our situation, and we're giving it a lot of thought. And next question.
Okay.
I don't know why we keep burning these questions. Every single quarter, we burn the questions that we're permitted to ask with these ridiculous questions.
Yeah, no, I agree. Before we go to the next one, just your personal opinion on any of those questions.
Yeah, I think that, no, I don't think they'll build a traditional SUV and pickup truck on the Cybertruck platform. That's my guess. Will they build a compact car leveraging the unboxed Cybercab platform? I don't see why they shouldn't, but I think it's probably a little ways off. I think new car models are right now, less important and less in the foreground of Elon's mind than getting the robotaxi fleet up and running. I think once that's up and running, then it'll become clearer what to do. Now, I know it takes, 18 months to get a platform implemented, but they've got so many options now. They've got, the 3, they've got the Y, or that platform. They'll have the Cybercab platform. They have the S and the X. I'm not sure there are platforms, but they have the S and X. And they have the Cybertruck platform. So I think they've got a lot to work from. But I think right now the real betting is on the robotaxi world.
So that leads us into the second question. What are the latest robotaxi metrics, fleet size, cumulative miles, rides completed, intervention rates, and when will safety drivers be removed? What are the obstacles still preventing unsupervised FSD from being deployed to customer vehicles?
Okay, this is a complex question that I think it's going to be hard to give very clear answers at this point, because this is largely up to the bureaucrats. We don't want to talk about fleet size, but it's a relatively modest fleet size at the moment. In terms of the cumulative miles and rides completed, we're reporting all of that. We're very happy with the process to date. And safety drivers will be removed as soon as the regulators feel comfortable. And in terms of unsupervised FSD, we feel very much that we're on target, and we feel that by the end of the year we'll see the beginning of unsupervised driving.
You made a comment about how safety drivers will be removed when regulators feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Is that the only thing they're waiting on? I mean, could they remove them in, say, let's say Austin now if they wanted to?
I don't think they're ready to do that yet. I think they'll want, to get a lot further along the line. I mean, there's a lot of versions, there's a lot of releases coming out right now. I think they want
Yeah.
to evaluate those releases. I think they want a very stable platform. I think they feel comfortable about where they're getting to with the stable platform, and we're getting early indications of the stability of 14.2. So I think we're close, but I don't think we're at the cigar level yet.
But just the point of the question though is, do you think they need additional regulatory approval to remove those safety monitors?
Yes, I think there is going to have to be a regulatory step. I think they're
Okay.
going to have to submit their reasons that they feel comfortable to do it, and then I think there'll be an approval.
Okay, great. Let's move on to the third question. What are the present challenges in bringing Optimus to market, considering app control software, engineering hardware, training general mobility models, training task specific models, training voice models, implementing manufacturing, and establishing supply chains?
Yes, I mean all the above. I mean the challenge that we're dealing with right now, that Tesla is dealing with right now, is to complete the engineering on the hand. We're very close to that. And once that's done, we'll probably work towards production. We're doing a lot of planning and getting the production line ready. That the change in the hand really held us up for a couple of months and had to put our plans back. But I think we're very close to getting back on track. As to the specifics, I mean, all the above. Every single one of these are a challenging issue, but we think we're, early in 2026, we'll be shipping, and we feel pretty good about where we are right now.
Early 2026 shipping robots. Great.
Yep. Yep.
That would be exciting.
Yeah, but that shipping could well be, to Tesla plants.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we'll see outside plants until late 2026 or mid to late 2026.
When do you think we'll see shipping to perhaps some Tesla suppliers?
That's the mid to late 2026. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when we talk about outsiders, I think we're talking about Tesla suppliers as much as, any other firm.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Certainly, there's enough internal opportunities, I would imagine, to make use of robots.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Next question. What demand slash backlog for Megapack, Powerwall, solar, or energy storage systems? The wording is there is not so great, but with the current AI boom, is Tesla planning to supply power to other hyperscalers?
Yeah, Tesla's already supplying power to other hyperscalers, um, either by proxy of their suppliers or directly. And the demand is on every front of the storage systems, the demand is very, very strong, globally and locally.
Do you think this is in addition to this question that I'm asking now, do you think we'll see any additional products added to the energy lineup next year?
I think there's going to be a change in some of the battery formats and battery supplies. I think there's
Mhm.
definitely going to have to be development in that field. There's no doubt in my mind. We'll see the first combination packs being supplied. What do they call them? The
The mega blocks?
Mega Block. We'll
Yep.
see Mega Blocks begin to be delivered next year. So yeah, I mean, Mega Blocks could well, I think, by the end of the year. So demand is very strong for every single product at this point.
Moving on to the next question. Can you share the progress of robotaxi expansion? What cities will be expected to have a Tesla robotaxi fleet deployed by the end of this year?
Oh boy. We already know about Dallas. We already know about Phoenix, Arizona. I'd be very surprised if we don't have a Florida announcement shortly.
Mm-hmm.
I think we would likely get an Atlanta announcement. It would be so fantastic to be able to announce New York before the end of the year, but I think that may be a little early. Um, and it's really hard to predict these sites, but Texas could well be an expansion opportunity to go into intercity, which would be also very exciting. So,
sorry, Larry, I was just going to add, I think that Houston also is on the list for Texas.
Yeah,
we're aware of.
I mentioned Houston. I'm sorry, I meant to mention.
Yeah, and then Las Vegas, Nevada, I think would be also at the top of the list.
That's another one. Yep.
Yep.
And then, of course, the question is LA, once they're in San Francisco, do they go to LA as well?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be relatively slowly at first, and then all of a sudden, I mean, we're going to see city after city, very quickly after that.
I would guess in Los Angeles that half the people that take robotaxis would have it take them to the Tesla diner as their ride.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question. What is your projection for when FSD will allow for unsupervised driving?
Well, if it's Elon, then it's going to be, first half of next year, or even by the end of the year. I think first half of next year is quite an aggressive objective, because I think they're going to have to convince regulators, and regulators are really, really tough to move on the subject.
Related to this, do you think we'll see any regulatory relief next year in terms of a federal framework for robotaxi? Is that something you would expect for next year?
Yes, I think this administration is likely to be galvanized into action, or is being galvanized into action by the progress of both Waymo and Tesla at this point.
Mm-hmm. Next question, Larry. Instead of trying to replace hardware 3 with hardware 4 or AI 4, as it's now known, why not give an equal incentive to trade in for a new vehicle?
So there's a lot of moving parts to this issue, and we are giving serious consideration to how to approach it. And we expect an announcement on this before the end of the year.
That's a good way to weasel out of the answer. Right?
Yeah. But, I think they can re-engineer those cars. It is going to be re-engineering. And so I think a swap of the cars would be a really good idea, because, the form factor of hardware 4 is different to the whole form factor of hardware 3, and the interconnects are different. So it definitely needs quite a significant amount of engineering. And so it would be make a lot of sense to swap those cars out and then re-engineer those cars and offer them again, or use them in the fleet.
Would it make more sense for hardware 3 to make the jump to AI 5?
I thought about that, but we've got a way to go to AI 5. It's the end of next year, I think. So for that reason, I mean, that would be the logical thing to do. It's just, it just feels a long time. If you're the customer, it feels like forever. If you're Tesla, it feels like, well, it's only a year or so, So, they'll have to find a way to compensate. I think, but
yeah. Well, next week we have Tesla's earnings report, third quarter earnings, and it looks like analyst consensus is around 54 cents, maybe 55 cents, depending on who's tracking it. I guess instead of focusing on this in terms of what is the earnings per share going to be, which to me is probably the least important number, I guess, Larry, I'd like to ask you sort of what you are looking for from the earnings report, what you'd like to see. What are some of the things that you'll be focused on?
Their projection on energy demand, or their response to what is energy demand looking like. Because we did see, I mean, my question for say would be, we saw a drop in the backlog in the energy field. Is that backlog, are we seeing a turnaround in that? Are we seeing the backlog build again? What is the reason for that backlog drop? So that's one thing I'd like to look at. I'd like to hear about. The other thing I'd really like to hear about is some official response to the issue of Shanghai. Are they expanding production capacity in Shanghai? That I don't understand that question being left out. I don't understand that question not being asked. I think that's a critical question. I think Shanghai has the opportunity to increase volume and increase product mix. And the product mix could be a new vehicle. It could be a lot of different things. I'm not going to second guess their product roadmap for Shanghai, but it seems they need more productive capacity in Shanghai. There's talk about it. I wish they'd tell us a little bit more about it. And the third thing I'd like is some sense of when Robotaxi is going to become a business. At what point do they think it's going to start contributing to the gross profit? And some sense of what that build is going to be from a financial point of view, not necessarily product and so on, but just their sense of how they see. And this is how I would frame the question: how do you see the contribution to top line from robotaxis in the coming year or two? Can you give us a sense of its impact on the top line? That's what I'd like to hear. And the same thing for Optimus. Can they give us a sense of when they think we're going to see top line and bottom line impacts from Optimus? Those are the two questions that I think are more, than these detailed questions, production and deployment, blah, blah, blah. When are we going to see impact on top line and gross margin from these two products? What is their sense of that?
And let's hope that the analysts don't ask any questions about LiDAR.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and yeah, don't get me started on that. I mean, my God, I wonder
Yeah.
if he was kidding. I think he was kidding, but I mean,
He has to be, surely. If not, then there's some serious problems. But yeah. So then after the Q3 call, we're going to follow up that with the shareholder meeting on November 6th in Austin. And I guess have you received your invite yet, Larry?
no, I have not, which is really bothering me. I mean, I don't understand it, but okay,
Yeah.
maybe they
So,
don't love me anymore.
well, they've made it sound like it's a random drawing, and so I suppose it is, at least for most. Who knows? But it looks like there'll be guest check-in at 11 o'clock. Factory tours begin at 11:30, and then the keynote at 3:30. This is Central Time. So that's kind of the agenda. Again, from an expectations standpoint, Larry, what are you hoping to hear at the annual meeting? Or what would you expect that they'll be discussing?
Well, I think that Elon allowed that he would discuss some futures at the annual general meeting. And maybe the question that I asked is a question he would be prepared to respond to. But there are some very big questions. The one is battery chemistry. It's not something they want to talk about because a lot of it is secret. But let's say general progress with batteries. What is the expectation of progress with batteries? Some sense of where we are in terms of achieving the goals on getting to production with the semi. Semis are kind of fallen under the radar, but it's such an important product. it could have such an impact on both top and bottom line. So those two subjects, which have kind of fallen under the radar because of our focus on robotaxi and bot. So, but those are two businesses which are really current, which are also nascent. I mean, they're still in the early stages, but could have an immediate impact and a more immediate impact than robotaxi. And so, if you think about the waterfall of products, it would be awfully nice for Elon, and he said he would consider doing a more product-oriented annual meeting if he would talk about the kind of timing and expectations for, and I guess from a timing point of view, it would be energy, semi, robotaxi, bot,
Mm-hmm.
and then I know he doesn't like talking roadmaps for cars, but give us a policy as far as vehicles are concerned. Are we going to be in the vehicle business? Are we not going to be in the vehicle business? If we're going to be in the vehicle business, are we going to expand our TAM? We don't have to talk models. Let's talk about our TAM. Let's talk about price ranges we're going to be tackling. Let's talk about how we view our competitive situation in regard to supply chain and in regard to some of the critical aspects. So that's what I would love to hear. What I expect to hear is a little bit less than that full, complete, strategic picture of the company.
Sure. Just to add to something you said, in a recent interview, Franz was talking about how he's excited about the new, I forget exactly what his phrasing was, whether it was new vehicles, new models. I'm not sure exactly what he said, but he was excited about the ones they're working on,
Yeah.
in plural. So, yeah, we'll have to see.
And when you say working on, it could be 3 years away because
Could be.
France starts, 3 years ahead of the
Yeah.
product that occurs. So unless it's a refresh, that's a whole different matter. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to say take the 3 and Y line and build larger vehicles and smaller vehicles along those, in those design patterns. That would be, I think, the cogent thing to do. The
Mhm.
X and the Y, sorry, the S and the X were both cars that were built, for entirely different purposes in an entirely different market. And, the robot, the Cybercab is a very distinct product for a very distinct market. But the 3 and the Y, like, like the Honda Accord, has an opportunity, Honda Accord and Honda Civic have an opportunity to be much more than just, those two cars. They could be a range of vehicles. The 3 less so than the Y, but the Y does offer the longer vehicle, which I think would sell very well in the United States,
Mhm.
and a shorter vehicle, which I think would sell very well in Europe. So, the question is, are we a vehicle company? And if we're a vehicle company, give us a sense of what we're thinking about strategically.
Makes sense. So speaking of new developments, overnight, essentially, we've got version 14.1.2 coming out,
Yep.
and we've got some of
As
the early,
promised. As
as
promised.
promised. Yeah, it's pretty amazing, actually, the speed at
Yep.
which they're iterating on this. And we now have a new feature called Mad Max mode.
Yeah. That's made
Uh,
for me.
that's right. Is that right?
Yeah, I do so many road trips, and I'd like to. I mean, 85 is the absolute limit, and I've got a speeding ticket now at 85, so I've kind of dialed it down to 83, hoping that not hitting that 5 would save me from, I guess it was South Carolina's, more aggressive guys. Um, but yeah, I mean, once you're on the freeway, getting behind some of these guys who, stick at 64.5 miles an hour is really very taxing to the patience. So I like Mad Max. I would like Mad Max. I haven't experienced it yet, but there you go.
Yeah, and then we also have the sloth mode was recently added too. So, what's your thoughts now on having sort of the 5 different modes?
I think it's good. I think that every driver is different. I know that my wife would love sloth. I know that my sister-in-law would love sloth. So it would be. I think it works for more people than just one single mode, or even 2 or 3 single modes.
Mhm.
And
Just while you're
it
talking there, Larry, I'm just gonna play a video here of some sped up a video from last
yeah,
night of
yeah,
the version. Yep.
Mad Max.
Yeah.
I guess that's how most people drive anyway.
Yeah. I'll just play this again. There's a lot of lane changing going on
Yep.
here to try
That's
to get around some slower traffic.
every gap they can find, they take.
Yeah.
It's interesting. They'll go right lane to left lane to right lane to left lane. Currently, it really only wants to stick to the left lanes as for the speed lanes.
Yeah. And we have another video here. Again, just another example from last night testing this out. And there's not as much traffic in this video, but you can certainly see that it does make some lane changes, left and right.
Yeah, it's nice that it doesn't hang out in the left lane until it passes and then it goes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyway, this video goes on for some time, but this is kind of more of the same here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if we go to this slide, so this is from Zach, one of the early testers. He says Mad Max on version 14.1.2 isn't just fast, but most importantly, it's still very safe. It won't cut off people or make any dangerous decisions. It's assertive, and its lane changes are very thought out too.
Yeah, I haven't heard real criticism yet of 14.2. I'm really fascinated to see how it solves. I mean, there's so many things with 13 dot whatever dot x dot x. The biggest problem I have with 13.x.x is Cybertruck compatibility.
Hmm.
My wife's Y drives so beautifully, and for various reasons, we had to take it to Florida when we recently went down there, and it was really flawless. But with the Cybertruck, I do have problems. This problem hugging the yellow line, and other problems that are like beginning and end of the journey and so on. So it would be nice to see Cybertruck getting dialed in.
And I think we should expect to see that in this release, and also Cybertruck to get actually Smart Summon and some of the other things that it doesn't have yet. So I'm excited about that too, Larry, because I have a Cybertruck as well. So to this previous comment from Zach, Ashok just simply responds to yes. Um, and then Zach has a video here. This Mad Max mode is amazing, and I love it. Perfect for LA traffic. I think this was actually the first video that we watched. We've already seen this.
Yeah.
And then Ashok responds to that. He says, for when you're late to your flight, or to pick up your kids from school, and so on.
Yeah, I love it.
And then James Dalma says that this will reverse the narrative about Robotaxi being too timid and other drivers taking advantage of it. Now people will complain that superhuman FSD takes advantage of slow human drivers.
I wonder if the Robotaxi will have a toggle in the back seat display where you can choose your type of driving.
Yeah, that would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Ashok responded, I wasn't sure if this is to James's comment or not, but he says, you'll love it more during the daytime and denser traffic. Really showcases its decision making.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see more from that. And then Phil Dwan says other speed profiles are also significantly improved with this release. So we'll wait to see some evidence of that. And by the way, Phil is the principal software engineer at Tesla AI, and he leads the fleet learning team at Autopilot. So if there's somebody that should know, it would be Phil.
And Phil Dwan was the guy who actually presented the paper on the new architecture.
Mm-hmm.
The first paper on the first look we had on the new architecture. It was pretty exciting.
Yeah. So here's Zach's comments. He says 8 drives with FSD 14.1.2, and here are my thoughts. And what I'm going to do actually is just I'll read these as I display the video here. Let me just remove this and bring this up. Here is his video. So while that's going, he says, first off, Mad Max mode is amazing in traffic. Drove down to Hawthorne on my first drive in rush hour, and it cut through traffic so well. An hour drive without any human input was great. Other speed profiles seem like they make slightly more difference than before. Standard is perfect on city streets. Hurry is a bit quicker, and lane changes are more assertive than 14.1.1. Mad Max is a bit quick at times on city streets with nobody around, as expected. The assertive lane changes are my second favorite change after Mad Max. It doesn't wait around a bit like version 14.1 and 14.11. I'll just play this video again. It commits and sends it if safe. Love it, he says. He says, I've not really seen any brake stutter yet. Seems gone so far. I saw one instance of slight steering wheel shaking, but that's it over the last few hours. And then he says, a few things to note with Mad Max. It's fast, but it's very safe. It's not going to cut people off. It makes great decisions, and they're clearly calculated. It's not like the Nissan Altima with the missing bumper you see flying through traffic. It's very controlled, and I love it. This is exactly what we needed for Los Angeles, and it's almost how I like to drive through traffic, and how you have to drive through Los Angeles. And then he closes, he says, lane changes in each profile seem improved in this build too. Definitely noticeably better and more confident. With parking garages, I'm seeing good performance, but to note, 1 of 4 garage attempts so far, it went further from the ticket booth than it used to. Feels like maybe 1.1 had better lot performance, but I'm going to do a lot of driving tonight to make sure. So,
Well, yeah, given the variable nature of the software, you can't tell from one example at all. You know, it takes many more examples to generalize in terms
yeah,
of the parking. You know, the point about parking.
right.
So I did see Chuck Cook. I did see a video just before we came on, talking about the unprotected left turn. He did an incredibly difficult unprotected left turn. I don't know if you saw that video, but man, that car hung out for a long time before it finally left turned. And Chuck said they wished it had crept out a little bit more and really inveigled itself into the traffic to force it. I just can't believe that anybody would permit a left-hand turn with the density of the traffic flowing both ways in this environment. But what I make the point, why I'm making this point, is that I bet you he was not on Mad Max. I think the way so the car did the turn, and he was amazed and pleased, but he had wished it had done it earlier because he hung around for like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, which is like forever.
It feels like forever.
Particularly if you've got a car behind you. But I'm thinking that, you know, when these guys do these videos, they should state what level they're at or what setting they're at. So I would be interested in him redoing that with Mad Max switched on.
That's great. Yeah. And then some final thoughts from Zach. He says, it definitely obeys no right on red signs. I've seen it listen to every single one perfectly so far, even obscure signs. And then he says it moves over for lane splitting motorcycles well before I can see them.
Wow.
And this increases safety for everyone, especially the motorcyclists, and they appreciate it.
I
A
was
couple
gonna
of
make
them have
that
waved.
point. Yeah.
Yeah. Moved over for 2 construction zones I've encountered thus far and slowed down. Standard seems like the Goldilocks profile when on city streets with no traffic to follow. doesn't speed much and usually travels at the perfect speed. Mad Max is fast when nobody around, but really good speed control when there are cars on the road. And then he says, when you enable FSD from park, I love how quickly it gets going. If it's safe, it goes right away. It feels like it's always waiting and ready to go. Pretty awesome improvement. Continually impresses me. And then he says, auto steer and TACC are back. And get some miles accumulated on auto steer for those wondering if it's changed at all. I don't think it has much if it did. And the video we saw was a 15-minute zero intervention drive from Santa Monica to Supercharger at Rodeo Drive, where it obeyed a one-way sign to the little parking lot and went to the next entrance once it saw. Anyway, we appreciate these guys staying up late at night and going through this. It's a lot of effort, and it's great to see their videos.
Yeah. Great service that they do. Amazing service.
Of course, the rest of us can't wait also to add to the body of work, but we'll have to patiently wait another week or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that, Larry, that brings us to the end of the material we wanted to discuss. I really appreciate you being on the show and sharing with us your insights. Thank you very much.
A lot of fun. Great job, Cernbert.
We'll see you next time, Larry. Thank you.
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com.